welcome to the How to Adapt Masterclass. Now, I want to tell you a quick backstory as to how I stumbled across the idea to even create this masterclass. So first things first, make sure you like the video, comment, subscribe, only if you find value in it. I don't want fake likes on the content because I'm not a fake person. So I was listening to a Rich Homie Quan song today. And rest in peace to Rich Homie, incredible artist. And yo, I remember when I first started listening to Rich Homie, and it was back in 2014, my bad. And I had just dropped out of York College up in PA. Now I came back home and I wanted to get back into school because I wanted to run track. And all my homies went to the junior college. I'm like, I gotta go there. But in order to go back, I had to work my tail off in order to purchase the transcript, send it to the new school, enroll. This was 7 bands, which to me, I'm 18 years old, I'm broke as fuck, but I got to figure out how to do it. So during that time, I worked at a grocery store, I worked at Food Lion, and Rich Homie dropped. I promise I will never stop going in. One of the best mixtapes probably ever, yo. Just, you had to have been there. He came out just so authentic, so himself, and just raw. And you could tell he was talking to the brothers. He was just talking his shit. But anyway, rest in peace to him. He just passed away. So I'm listening to one of his songs from that mixtape today. And he says something about, boy, you're not where you want to be because you ain't adapting. And I was like, damn, he's right. He's right. Adaptation is the only reason that you are not where you want to be right now, because you haven't adapted either in time or you haven't adapted well to the roller coaster of life. And this is how I came across the idea to start this masterclass. So now that we've gotten the intro out the way, I want to keep this video as practical as possible. Feel free to get a paper and a pen, take some notes, and really open up your mind to receive the information. And I want you to assume that your way of doing things hasn't been working. And if or because your way of thinking hasn't been working, it would behoove you, I love that word, it would behoove your ass to take heed to this word, all right? Let's get right into it. So adaptation is very necessary for your peak performance. People overlook the importance of adapting, and eventually they will pay the price for it. Don't be the person that changes too late, okay? I can give you an example. In 2024, technology is crazy. We got AI doing shit. We got people that are still incredible. We got social media distracting us. We got marketing and advertising and elections and all of this stuff happening. So it's a lot going on, right? But you have your people that are just so caught up in the way things used to be. Oh, like back in my day, if you were young and watching this, if you're around my age, then you have someone in your family that, yeah, well, back in my day, we ain't used to do that. And usually they're referring to something technology or communication based. And this uncle, this nigga got left in the dust back in the day because he just was not prepared to adapt. Life happened and he did not happen with it. And he's still living back there. And he's getting on how nowadays, back in my day, because he wants to catch up to the race. We've all been there. We've all not adapted or not caught on to something in time and have had to pay the price for it in some way, shape, or form. Anyway, let's define what adaptation is as a whole. The process of adjusting to new circumstances, environments, or situations. Adaptation involves embracing change, learning from your mistakes, and evolving to meet new demands. Now, I created 4 pillars which determine your skill level and your ability to adapt. And what is this based off of? I want you to think about Play-Doh. And sometimes you got the Play-Doh that's just dumb hard and you can't really squeeze it in your hand without feeling your hand muscles breaking. But then you got the warmer Play-Doh that's just way more malleable. That Play-Doh is flexible. You can turn it into whatever you want. And if it's too soft, you could just make it cold. You feel me? It's not like it's out of place. So that is what these 4 pillars are based off of. And based on that explanation, number 1 is flexibility. The number 1 pillar of adaptation, the number 1 thing necessary that needs to be within you in order for you to adapt is flexibility. You have to be willing to color outside the lines in life. Now, I'll be honest with you, making decisions is something that people don't really like to do. People hate making decisions. And that's why you got so many sheep, so many followers, so many people that are waiting on you to make the next move instead of, them taking initiative. There's so many people that aren't flexible. They are living in the passenger seat of their own life. I want to repeat that. They're living in the passenger seat of their own life. Don't be that person. Don't be the person that doesn't have a plan for yourself, that doesn't have a vision for yourself. Don't be the person that you know exactly who you are, but you let the outside world and other people talk you out of what you know about yourself. Don't be him. Stand on what you believe in and understand that wherever you land in life, whatever your values or beliefs are, you're always going to have enemies. So stand firm, understanding that, right? Pillar number 2 is a growth mindset. A growth mindset essentially is your ability to always have your mind open and receptive to information, and not just media, but information that serves you right, okay? A growth mindset is preceded by vision. So in order to have a growth mindset, you have to want to grow into something or grow somewhere. You want to go somewhere, right? So you need that vision. And it's funny because in the United States, you meet somebody and you say, hey, what's up? My name is whatever. What's your name? Tell you their name. And you go, yeah, it's like, what do you do? And the first thing that this person does is they explain to you what they do for 40 hours a week in between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. And I hate this shit. So, after this person will tell me what it is that they do for 80 hours every 2 weeks, I'm like, nah, like, what do you do? What are you doing with yourself? What's your vision? Like, tell me. I don't give a fuck about where you work. I don't care about that. And people don't have that vision, long story short. So people are not only rigid and not willing to step out of bounds a little bit in life, but they also don't have a mindset of growth, a mindset that is the battery in their back, is the fuel for what they do. They wait for life to place that battery there, and then they just go based on that. Don't be that guy. Number 3 is resourcefulness. What you got is all you got, so use it. It's so easy to think that the grass is greener on the other side, and the thing is, the grass actually might be greener on the other side, and you may very well know it, but that doesn't excuse you from using your resources. You feel me? Being resourceful means that you're able to make lemonade out of apples. You have to be able to use your intention, your thought energy, to take what you have now and turn that into what you want. And that takes skills. That takes a vision, yo. That takes resourcefulness. That takes, if you can't find the circumstance, you create it for yourself. The grass very well may be greener, but so what? So what? Go get the grass then. And if you can't get it, why don't you just build it? Come on now. Last but not least is resilience. And resilience is the final pillar of adaptation that I think really matters, because your journey in life is going to involve you getting blindsided, knocked out, tripped up. You're going to fall up the steps. You feel me? All of these things are going to happen to you, but it doesn't matter how many things happen to you if you never get back up. So you got to get back up 9 times if you fall down 8, because on that ninth time, maybe that's the opportunity that you've been looking for. So resilience is very, very necessary. So moving right along, let's talk about why you failed to adapt in the past. Now, this is probably my favorite part of this masterclass, because I'm going to force you to look in the mirror and actually come to terms with where you've fallen short. There's 3 main reasons that people may fail to adapt. Life may throw you a curveball and you get stumbled because you're so married to who you've always been. You think that who you've always been is what's going to get you to the promised land. You don't want to put a new input in order to get a new output. So what does life do? Life catches you when you least expect it, right? Now, 3 main reasons: the fear of the unknown, you're in your comfort zone, or you're just not self-aware. I think the most common is lack of awareness. I mean, honestly, I think that the most common one is all damn 3. But let's talk about lack of self-awareness. Majority of people are sleepwalking through life and don't even know that they're sleepwalking through life. They have no plan for themselves. They have no grit. They have no expectation of themselves but to just respond to everything that life is giving them. They don't know what the hell is going on in their mind. They are not feeding their body the proper nutrients in order for them to operate at peak capacity. People are not self-aware. And guess what? When you try to bring attention to this lack of self-awareness, the ego steps forward and says, shut up. You don't know me. Because these people also have the top of their minds closed. They're not receptive to information that may be fruitful for them because they're not self-aware. It costs. It literally costs. It costs dollars. It costs emotions. It freaking costs to be not self-aware. Comfort zone is another big one because, again, people are married to who they've always been. They want these goals that require them to be U squared or U 2.0. However, they're married to the beta version of you. Last but not least, we got the fear of the unknown. These are those people that will be pessimists, and they're going to talk you out of your dreams and tell you, my favorite line of all time, being realistic. They're going to tell you to be realistic when you want to shoot for the stars because they have a fear of the unknown. I put a quote here by my dude, Dom K. He said, how you going to win if you don't ever want to risk nothing? That bar, for years, since he dropped the yellow tape back in, I think, 2010, that bar has always had a space in my mental condo. Always. And I have a tattoo above my knee, above both knees, and it's fearless. Fear on one knee, less on the other end. Because, bro, we can't allow the unknown to dictate what we're going to do now, because the odds of you failing are just as high if you don't do anything as if you do everything. You may as well risk it, man. One more quote on that one before we move on. You can always connect the dots when you look backwards. In hindsight, you don't connect them moving forward. So those people that are so ingrained in this fear of the unknown, maybe you should let them know that. Let them know that you're speaking on past experiences, but you're not supposed to be able to connect dots as you move forward. That's not what makes life worth living. You got to be uncomfortable, or you got to be comfortable being uncomfortable. You got to accept and welcome discomfort. So I created a framework for adaptation, and this framework is basically just a roadmap that you can use to navigate. It's a very simple process. Again, I wanted to keep everything as practical as possible for you. So this is a 4-step framework. 3 of them require you to take action. Well, really all 4 do. We start out with acceptance, we go into positioning, action, and then we repeat the cycle over and over again. So for the duration of this masterclass, I'm going to speak on these steps, and I'm going to speak from my perspective. I want you to make sure that you open up your mind and you make this framework work for you, because this is just what works for me, okay? So let's get right into it, and let's talk about acceptance. Acceptance is the foundation of adaptation. It involves acknowledging the reality of the situation, letting go of resistance, and embracing the need for change. And actually, when you take a look at step number 1, I'm actually really, really good. Look at how this mirrors flexibility, growth mindset, resourcefulness, resilience, adaptation. Acceptance is rooted in adaptation. So first, we want to make sure that we are embracing the change. We want to allow ourselves to at least envision, a crash course or a hard left or hard right. We want to say, okay, this is happening. My path forward has been obstructed. So I either need to go up, under, or around whatever is going on. You have to embrace that change. Our minds are always going to want to take care of us, to protect us from whatever can potentially harm us. It is our duty to say, hey, I understand, mind. I understand that you're here to protect me, but we got to move this thing forward, okay? Your mind is meant to protect you, okay? Your spirit is meant to propel you. So go ahead and propel yourself. And when it's time for you to be protected, your mind will take care of that as well, okay? And then we have to shift our perspective. Shifting of the perspective is vital for this process, because you need to change the frame in which you're looking through life at. You need to change the way you react to things. Change the way that you take action. Change the way that you take risk. Change the way that you nourish your mind, body, and soul. You got to shift the perspective. It doesn't always have to be a drastic shift in perspective in order for you to get a result. Sometimes the smallest tweaks in life produce the largest results. And the reason for that is because there's not much difference in between success and failure. There's only a couple of things that success involves that you're currently not doing. And that's why you're tapped into the masterclass, because you're like, well, what the fuck is going on? I need to try something new. So step number 2, we go into positioning. So once we have accepted everything as what it is, we've shifted the perspective, we understand we're not going to be able to connect the dots moving forward, we move into step 2, which is positioning ourselves. We now position ourselves by analyzing our strengths, weaknesses, and potential opportunities in the context of whatever we're adapting to. So let's paint a picture, right? Let's paint a picture. You want to start a business, and you have your business partner, and you have this idea to start the business, and you build the infrastructure. And as far as subscriptions and all that stuff go, and payment and stuff, you are taking care of the creation of the product, whereas your teammate is taking care of the infrastructure, the software needed, trademarking, all liabilities, all of that kind of stuff, and you're just creating the product, right? One thing leads to the next, and you and your partner find an opportunity to take your business public, whatever it is, right? And this is where everything goes wrong, because now you and your business partner that have been at it since day one are now viewing things differently. Maybe you want to be a little bit more bullish, and maybe they want to be more bearish. Maybe they don't want to push as hard. You can't come to an agreement, and your business splits. Opportunity is right here in front of you, and your business crumbles right in front of it. And because your partner was handling all the books and the trademarking, technically they own the business. And they have access to everything that you've created, but you don't own anything because they were thinking 10 steps ahead, playing chess and not checkers. So now, what do? You got to accept it. Your world is crashing down. It's tough, but you have to accept it, and you have to prepare yourself to play to your strengths. What are you good at? And how can you leverage your strengths in order to adapt? I know me personally, I like to pop my shit. I just like to talk. I like to give my opinion, and I like to back it up with research. This has always been my thing. I don't really get emotional over things, so that's another strength. Um, but sometimes my words may pierce others because I could change the way that I'm filtering it. Weakness. All right, bet. So that's why I find myself now on a platform that I control completely, because I can't control every engagement that I'm having in person, but I can control it on here. And if you don't like it, you can just watch another video. So I've played to my strengths and away from my weaknesses with just this masterclass right here. And then we want to look at our opportunities. If we play to our strengths and weaknesses, what opportunity lies before us? And these are things that you want to get a pen to a paper for, because you want to get these ideas out of your mind and onto paper. This allows you to not be as emotionally invested in the outcome, because you understand, you literally just understand. You see what's going on in your mind. But when it's all in your mind, it's hard to organize this gaseous, squishy thing of a brain. But we can organize ink on paper, okay? Step number 3, once we've positioned ourselves for success, is action. And let's have it for this terrible ass picture. Shout out to Gamma. This Dracula wannabe motherfucking, I don't know, Edward Cullen. And I don't even know where he's at. It's like Day of the Dead. I don't know. It's actually really fucking terrible. But besides the point. Step number 3 is action. And yes, these are numbered out of order, 1, 3, and 2. Again, thank you so much, Gamma. It wouldn't allow me to edit this one. So action is the execution phase of your adaptation. This is where you actually throw something at the wall and you see if it's going to stick or not, right? So step number 1 is you want to define your goals. And this is a part of step number 2 in positioning, where you look at the opportunities based on your strengths and weaknesses. Once you have looked at what your potential opportunities are, now you want to set and define some very clear goals. And I should have taken the word achievable out of this, because it's very important to be realistic, but you also need to outthink your mind, because your mind, again, it's there to protect you, but your spirit, your soul, that's what's going to propel you. So I would like to say, to define your goals, you want to set clear goals that scare you, that align with your adaptation objectives. Step number 2 is you want to take action. Once you have the goals, do the first thing that's going to get you to that destination. The reason that I want you to take action as soon as you've defined your goals is because now that you have a goal, you can move with intention. So even if you miss, at least you're on track, right? Even if the goal post is over there, but you shoot going this side of the field, at least you're on the football field and not the basketball court, right? So that's why you want to take action. Once you've taken action, the first action that you usually take is the most authentic. So based on your first action that you take, this is very important. You want to develop a strategy around the action that you've taken. This is extremely important. We are utilizing 2 things here. We're utilizing the fact that we've taken action so we have momentum going. And we're also utilizing the fact that you can do something with action that's been taken, but you can't do anything with ideas in your mind that you haven't taken action on, okay? So don't make the battle more difficult than it needs to be. Set your goals, take action immediately, and then build a plan about what you have done or around what you have done. Don't do something random and then make a plan that doesn't involve what you just done or what you just did. Don't do that. Like, literally, that's so counterproductive, and a lot of people do that. A lot of people do that because they don't fucking put a pen to paper. They don't think for themselves. Please. Before we go to step number 4, define your goals, take the action, develop a strategy around the action you've just taken. Big deal, man. Big freaking deal. One last thing. One last thing is that you want to the time it takes in between you taking that action and developing a strategy around that action, let's try and minimize the amount of time that it takes, okay? So if you take an action and you have an hour later where you're not doing anything but just scratching your balls, take that time to build a strategy. Maybe take 20 minutes to 30 minutes and just build a makeshift strategy and at least figure out your next 2 to 3 moves. This is going to keep momentum in your life. So many people don't get wealthy, get the body that they want, build the business that they want, have the friend group that they want, travel the world like they want to, because they take so much time in between taking action and building a plan that they're always starting from scratch. And they're just in this never ending loop and cycle of absolute passenger seat living. Do not be a passenger seat driver. You can't. It's no steering wheel over there. On to step number 4, which is to repeat. So this is a cycle. Adaptation is just a cycle, and those that can master the art of adapting are going to be successful, right? So let's say you've taken a successful action. You've used this framework and you have done something that worked for you. Maybe you wanted to, rebuild that business that crumbled or get it back going, and you were able to start a new business, whatever, and it worked. Oh my God, now you have traction. So you took action at work, you defined your goals. You're right back here at step number 1 of acceptance, letting go of resistance, because there now is no resistance. You want to quickly move right on into step number 2 and reposition yourself, because now you've taken action that has worked. Position yourself to win, play toward the strengths and away from your weaknesses, right? Now, from this new position, you can look at new opportunities. Now, it's important for you to see new opportunities, but be very, very stubborn when it comes to changing your goals. I'm going to repeat that. Entertain new opportunities, but be very stubborn when it comes to changing your goals. The reason that I say this is because you do not want to be in a never-ending cycle of taking action without intention. What this does is it just scrambles all the pieces on the puzzle board, and you just continue working with the same 10 puzzle pieces, but the rest of the board is still in a box. You don't want to be that guy. You want to move with intention, and you want to actually get results. Results allow for you to make it back to the acceptance phase. You see what you've done, you can accept it, and you can go right back through this cycle. You really want to implement this stuff, y'all. You really, really, really want to implement this stuff consistently. So look, obviously adapting is important. You need to learn to become a master adapter. And you need to also just learn to be a student to life and accept your L's just as willingly as you're willing to accept your W's. Your L's are lessons, not losses. And your wins, ironically, they're not going to feel as good as your L's do or as the journey does. So take the value out of the destination and put it into the journey, and focus on who you're becoming. Focusing on who you're becoming in the process, it's done a lot of great things for me. It's prevented me from rushing my process, because when you rush the process, you don't care for who you become. You care for what you get. And you're still the same person, the same fucked up person with great results. That's why most people that don't do self-work, that win the lottery, go bankrupt, because they're the same fucked up person and can't no goal, money, accomplishment, anything fix what is in here. So this framework, it's powerful, and it's meant to help you make money. It's meant to help you to get the body that you want. It's meant to help you do anything that you can very well desire. But don't be vicious with this. Make sure you're using this internally as well. And do the self-work. Don't get lazy doing the self-work. And don't start out doing the self-work and then get lazy and stop doing the self-work once you catch a couple of dubs, because, you can lose in an instant. The same way it's like popcorn. You pop in an instant, you pop in an instant. You feel me? Like, comment, and subscribe. Implement this. implement this. Send this video to someone that needs to see it. I'm your boy Fit Like Chris, and I will see you in the next one.